Welcome to the post-show of Gentleman Dog Portrait. This is a game. It's a game-based one. It's a game show.
We're gonna be talking games here.
We're gonna be talking games, games that we've played, games you might have heard of, games we think you should try out.
Games you should stay away from.
Games you should stay away from. That's another thing. Maybe we'll do a couple segments on that. But I think generally, since we know each other because we play this game, Kingdom of Loathing. So what I was thinking was we would make this post show mostly about that because we do have opinions on it. It's been around for 11 years now. That's longer than a lot of games' lifespans.
It's longer than I've been alive.
Yeah,
No,
I'm sure there's some people
quite.
that actually could say that on there, even though it might go over their heads. But it's one of those things. There'll be titles on this. If you don't recognize KOL or you don't like it or some other game that you've probably never heard of and have no intention of it, give it a listen anyway. But there are some things, mostly with Kingdom of Loathing, that we're going to talk in some jargon. By all means, do your homework on this. But if it really turns you off, you don't have to listen to it. Maybe you like to hear our voices. I don't know.
I would say for anyone that doesn't know what Kingdom of Loathing is, the way I describe it to people is that it's a browser-based game.
Yeah.
It's free to play.
Free to play. Crappy art.
It's not demanding on your system. It's in your browser. There's black and white images and text. Not highly graphical.
Yeah, well, and that's part of the charm, though. It's crappy graphics, but the flavor of it is in the writing. It's very witty. It's very referential.
Turn-based game.
It's also got a very strong community. There's something for everyone in there. There's something for collectors.
Yeah.
Something for optimizers. Something for just people that like to play things and hang out.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we are. I think that's what we are in this game. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a collector. I'm a bit of an achiever.
We got an achievement war going on that. But we'll discuss that some other time.
Yeah.
But
recently there have been some changes in the game.
There's some changes, and that's what
we'd like to address.
That's what this post show is going to be about. And it's about changes that have been happening in the direction of it. How people are going to be playing the game now. How people are going to be starting runs now. It's the standard one. It's the T69 takeover of KOL.
Yeah.
All right. Today on Gentleman Dog Portrait. All right. So, what are your? I guess the best way to describe it is at the beginning. Before this.
In the beginning.
Kingdom of Loathing has always been this game about if you knew about it earlier than everyone, you were in a better position. It was a game that, if you knew about it from the start, and you bought the things, and you were around for the events,
The longer you've been playing the game, the more equipped you are.
The better equipped you are. Yeah. And I think that's what turned a lot of people off from it. The game started in, 2004?
Yeah, about that.
That's when it started. I started in 2007, and I took long breaks from it, spanning years. Mike,
I started in 2012 after a JK. One of the creator did an AMA, and I decided
creator
to play
Jick of Asymmetric Productions
did a little Q&A on Reddit.
Yeah, and that's cool of them.
Yeah. But recently,
it started last year in the summer, when they decided to impose some restrictions on new runs. And runs in this game are you basically start from the beginning again. You do all the quests again. You start at level 1. You level up
to beat the game.
Again. You beat it again and again. It's New Game Plus.
Yeah.
But he started putting restrictions on new challenge runs with different restrictions. Except all of them now, you can't use things that are older than 2 years old.
Yeah, so any equipment
that you bought from 2005, that thing that you won in 2007.
Not any equipment, but certain things from special events.
Yeah, the older stuff. The older stuff that you got at Christmas in 2008, you can't use that. the book that you bought in 2005. You can't cast any spells
and
from
it's
that.
some of the more powerful items in the game.
Well, when that happened, the bomb dropped. People said this is the end of the game. I don't know why they're doing this to us.
Yeah.
Why are they punishing the early adopters?
And there's on one hand you have people saying that I spent money on this premium content and I expected to be able to use it. Mm-hmm. And on the other hand, you have the game designers saying, if we have to factor in 11 years of content every time we introduce new content to make sure that you don't become too powerful or you don't have some insane advantage.
Or you don't buy the same thing again,
exploit.
which definitely turned some people off. It was same shit, different paint job.
Yeah,
Definitely with some of the familiars on that.
Yeah.
But the trade-off initially was you did the challenge run, you agreed to the restrictions as well as what the new challenge was saying you can and can't do. And if you agreed to them and you finished the run, you got a reward. I was like, that seems fair.
Yeah.
That seems fair because you're agreeing to it. You could still do a regular run. You could still use all of your toys. But if you wanted to do something challenging, you had to adjust for all of your toys being too old.
Yeah. So it keeps the game fresh for you. You have to adapt new strategies.
Mm-hmm. So I think generally a lot of people were okay with it because it was a decent trade-off. The rewards didn't necessarily have to be powerful, but they certainly there had to be something for agreeing to do it. Because the challenge runs are a popular thing. It's if you've done the game for years and you've been doing the same quests over and over and you already know what to do.
You're in this groove of
you're in a rut. You're in a rut and the game just becomes boring after a while. I know I had several of those episodes where I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore.
And I enjoy when a challenge path comes out. And the first time I go through it, I'm horrible. I have a horrible...
And that's part of the charm.
I'm very inefficient. But then over the course of a few more runs, I start to
get a little
optimized.
You're not using the same strategy. No,
and it's fun to try to improve. And then the challenge path is... Then you get really good. And then the challenge path is over and you have a new thing to wrestle with.
I think you're... If you've already been adjusted to how the quests work in the game, then adjusting to it with the new challenge path maybe takes about a month and a half. I'm sure people with the latest one that's out right now, Picky, I think people got over that quickly, first and foremost.
Well, it's an off-season... You had
to adjust for Crimbo. Yeah,
there's always certain... I think, what is it, the spring path? Is that a big path?
Yeah, no, that's the Avatar paths.
The spring path and the fall path, I think, are the more elaborate.
Exactly.
Paths.
Because
they're designed more with
because
more
for winter you already have Crimbo, so you don't want people doing challenge paths for that and being like, oh, I didn't get to play as much as I should have because I was farming in Crimbo. And I'm like, that's a valid complaint.
I only did one Picky run for the sake of getting the tweezers and having a Picky run on my record.
Same thing. And summer, it's like either people are on vacations or they're going places or they're starting jobs and they can't. There might be a lot of people in school. Or like, I'm doing jobs right now, I can't play KOL, I don't have that many hours in the day, so they do something simpler for that too, and that's fine. But I think the issue now is when they decided January 1st to put in T69 for regular runs now. They call them standard runs. It's the game that you know and love, except now if you want to do it normally, you gotta do trendy. You gotta have things that are younger than 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, and you can still do the old way and get this. I think the stainless steel gear.
Yeah, you can still get the regular gear. You can still do your regular runs the same way that it's been going on for. How long has Ascension been out? 8 years.
I don't know.
9 years. So almost a decade. You're able to do it how you've been doing for almost a decade. But the issue now is, and I think this is what pissed a lot of people off. There are no leaderboards for now. There are no leaderboards for doing a non-trendy, regular old plain run. And that
There should be. Why not?
I don't.
Even if it's soft code, because I don't know. Like no matter, however you're gonna play the game, whatever's available to you. If I'm playing with everything available to me, and so are you, and I'm able to do better than you, I don't know. I would like to. It's just like unrestricted. How fast can you go? How fast can someone go? It'd be interesting to see.
It's the same pool of people that are going to be vying for that position, because it's still going to be old stuff that people are going to be using that synergy with. But at least like with a leaderboard that just takes into account the last 2 years rolling over, it certainly invites younger people to say, you have a chance now. You can do this if you want.
Yeah.
Which was the problem before.
I think there should just be like, why not both? You know, why not have leaderboards for everything?
I know it's an easier point. I know it's an easier thing for them to do, because they certainly could have just kept it the way that they did with when they first introduced it with the challenge runs. Because now they have porcelain and polyester equipment to collect, and you do get bonus karma. You do get even more now, so it's like there's no
What's the bonus on it?
It's an extra 100 or 50, depending on which one you do. Yeah,
so it's like a challenge path.
It's like a challenge path. It's like doing a regular old trendy path. It's just a matter of why wouldn't you do it then?
For me, as a collector, though, that's what I wanted to touch on. That now I'm saddled with having to do these 12 runs. You know.
Oh, don't give me that.
I have to do.
That is one run. If you're experienced, that's one run a month.
I guess.
It's like if you are good with hardcore, that's about a week. If you're good with normal, it's about 4 days.
I just feel like I'm like, I'm finally getting this game. I'm finally getting things under, getting things under my thumb. I've got it planned out, and it's like, here you go. Here's 12 more things to achieve, like yearly. I don't know. It's not bad. It's not terrible.
It's not the
doable.
Worst thing that could happen.
It's
like
doable.
If you were focused, I think you could bang that out in a couple of months.
Yeah,
because it's a day by day game.
Got to do 2 AT runs
every
year.
It's not the worst.
I'll be doing those 2 accordion thief runs.
But I know exactly why they did that, and I don't know. Do you pay attention to the podcasts that they do?
Here and there.
I don't.
Everyone's,
but I know why they did that, and I know why they're probably kicking themselves after they implemented it. It was an item of the month that they did in December 2013. It was the Smith's Tome. The single most game-breaking thing that Asymmetric Productions decided to. I love it. No, everyone that talks about it is like, it's the one thing you need to do. It's the one thing that you need to do. You need to have it. You need to make use of it. It's got equipment. It's got spleen items. It's got food. It's got booze. It's got combat items.
Yellow
it's the
Ray,
all-in-one.
Banish.
Yeah, it's the most broken thing on the planet. And instead of like tweaking it, like he could have made the class-specific equipment two-handed, and it still would be that good. He could say, well, if you want a light that never goes out or half a purse, you need to use the off-class ones. You got to use work as a 4-letter sword or something. And if you really want the fury and the muscle bonus, and you want the meat tenderizer, you got to use 2 hands. Like, even that would be completely fair.
Yeah.
But he's already announced that he's not going to fix anything that people have paid money for. It's there. Yeah, it's set.
I mean, that's fair. Not to change it.
So,
you paid for it.
So you have people that have these tomes, and there's no reason for them to buy anything else. The next tome, if they never had any restrictions...
In 2 years, in a year.
Yeah, if they never had the restrictions, people would never have to buy any other tome. They would just have the Smith's Tome. That's it. So
it's true.
So in 2 years, they'll have to come up with something that maybe isn't game-breaking, but is enough to replace it. And that's really what I'm looking for. But I'm also worried that they might get lazy and just put a different paint job on the Smith's Tome. But I would especially laugh if they took it like tongue firmly in cheek and do the Schmitz tome. The Schleit that never goes schlout. Just said schmud everything.
I think if I was designing IOTMs, I would make something in some ways, you know, in the way that the clip art tome is similar to the Smith's tome. I'm sure some variation will appear, but I think that some of that utility will be shifted over to a second IOTM. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
Well, it was too complete. That was the problem. That's why he definitely had to implement that.
I mean, I don't know.
And that's the issue that I would have if they kept regular, just run-of-the-mill leaderboards. Because in a while, assuming KOL gets even older and doesn't, putter out, then you would have to worry about old players that still have the Smith's Tome competing with people who started in 2016 and it's 2019 now.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. I mean,
it's the hand turkey paradox again. It wasn't that it was any good or it was game breaking, but it's just that there's only so many that you could throw in.
Yeah. I was looking. I guess I'm a little disappointed because when I joined the game, it was like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And
if you told me
now,
if you told me you wanted to be competitive,
it's like my chance to be that older veteran player with all the toys is ruined.
If you told me you wanted to be competitive and it was spring of 2014, I would have told you were absolutely crazy. But since T69 came about, and I'm like, well, just give it a little while, learn the basics of the game. You're still going to be competing with the people that did 300 runs and they have every skill permed. Yeah. Let's throw that out there. But now you actually have a shot. Yeah. And that's attractive to new people. That's how you get new players to join. Not so great for old player retention, but let's be real here. If you haven't quit the game by now, what are you waiting for?
You have some stakes in the game. You're invested to an extent.
Yeah, I've dropped. I don't know. I want to say that I've dropped about $100 in the game. Well, certainly because since I bought the dice Librum at KOLCon last year, that was $50.
I think
that easily sets me over.
What was the? I got the new one from the con. The Blaxian...
The XI receiver unit?
Yeah.
The G receiver?
I did pay for that. I mean, most of the stuff... I'm such a...
a hoarder?
No.
A handsome devil?
Well... no, I'm such a... In terms of games, just from growing up, how I was raised, it's like, I'll go to the store and I'll see something I like, and I'll want to get it, and I'll look... But then I won't just get it. I'll look at it, and I'll look at the box, and I'll turn it around, and I'll slowly talk myself out of getting it. Like, you don't really need this. This is kind of... And I'll walk out without getting it. And that's just who I am. Like, I just have been...
I got a tip for that. I'm like that, too. I see something, I wait to see reviews
occasionally
on it.
I'll buy stuff.
Yeah, there are a few things that I'll buy, like, immediately, like impulse purchase. But I always think... If it's for every $10 that it is, you need to wait an hour to think about it. And if it's still the first thing on your mind, get it.
Yeah, I mean there are definitely times when I get something because I know I'm going to get a lot of use out of it, and I know it's going to be worth the money, and it is. And I think especially with a free online game, to me, I get the IOTMs, but I'll do it in a weird way where I don't spend money out of pocket. I'll find some online way.
Yeah, you'll fill out the surveys.
Yeah,
some people do. Yeah,
I'll do something like that, and then I'll feel good about it. Like, hey, I got this, but I didn't use any of my income. Really, I just wasted a lot of time.
Well, I'm a guy. I'm fresh out of college. I'm living at home for the moment, and. I mean, I'm saving up for some big things, but it's also it's $10. I'll refuse to go out to lunch this one time.
Yeah.
Save that.
It's very silly because I'll go out, but food is so different. I'll go and get something from the store. I'll go grocery shopping and I'll throw a few extra things into the cart and I won't think anything of it, but $5 on this thing, on this online game, I'll think about it for 3 days,
Exactly.
I don't know.
When people have to pay for apps on the iPhone store or the Android store, is it really worth $2?
Yeah, it's this should be free.
It should be, and that's the weird. And I know that's why some people complain about this, because it's money that you're pouring into the game that you're not going to be able to use forever. And I do understand that complaint. I do. I feel that way sometimes too. I spent $50 on an item that I won't be able to use in current runs, but I'm doing back runs right now, so it's like I feel okay about it.
Yeah, man.
But I understand the complaint. It's easy to sink money into this game, especially when you consider this might be the most that some people spend on a game. Some people spend the $60 and that's it. Yeah. Some people spend $20 and that's it. Steam games, when they're on sale, I spend $7.50 on something and I still haven't played it. I might have installed it, but I haven't played it. Yeah, I gotta get better on that. Yeah. But KOL, it's easily. And some people feel it's like a subscription, and I'm like, oh, well, it's still a free game to me. I was around when it was a free game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's certain things I wonder about, like, now that they changed now that there are these T69 restrictions on what are they called? Regular
They're called
runs?
standard runs.
Standard runs,
which is like how they did the 3DS for Nintendo. There's the new model that they're coming out. It's just called the new 3DS. Yeah. Like, you guys can come up with a better name. It's like extra medium. Why? Let's come up with something else.
Well,
standard runs.
There was a point where, like, okay, they came out with T69 for challenge paths, and there was a reward for challenge paths, and I understood that. And okay, there's a reward now for standard runs too. You get this piece of equipment,
and you get the extra karma.
And the extra karma is there. But like, I guess before that happened, like, I was still thinking about older IoT, like getting a haiku katana. Like, I thought, I should probably get a haiku katana. That would be a good investment for regular runs, because I'll be able to optimize regular, even though I won't be able to use things in the challenge path. A challenge path will be one type of fun. A regular run will be this other type of fun. And now, like, I don't know if I'm going to want to buy one of those.
Yeah, it certainly screws up the economy. Like, some people bargain on the fact that things are going to rise in price.
Yeah, old items of the month now.
Yeah.
I don't know how great of investment they'll be,
How are we on time? Because I have another tangent that I would like to go on with people buying things.
We're about 20 minutes, 22 minutes.
I'll save it for another time. I'll save it for another. It's like a tale of me shopping in the market. But we'll stick with leaderboards and standard runs again. But I still maintain that there shouldn't be a leaderboard for it. You could just mark it by yourself, or have some sort of external website. Especially since it's just older players competing with themselves.
I'm sure if you cared about it enough, you could keep a record.
Yeah.
And post it, and it would be an established record that other people could.
It's like when people make their own contests, which I gotta say, when some people, when they make their own contests based in games, they suck or they're too hard. Have you ever heard of Five Nights at Freddy's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know about that game.
And there's also a sequel that's been out.
I don't know about that. Okay. I know that if you beat Five Nights at Freddy's, there's a 6th and 7th night possible online.
So I saw this game. I browsed the subreddit because even though I don't play the game,
there's a subreddit for Five Nights at Freddy's.
There's a subreddit for everything. We've established this in the regular show. Yeah, there's a subreddit for everything. And some guy made a challenge that the minute I read it, I'm like, this is making my blood boil, and I wish I could tell you off and smack the crap out of you, but I can't. And I would tell you, but I'm not going to do. He made a challenge that you have to survive a fortnight at Freddy's. It's
is
playing
that
the
possible
first.
In the game?
It's the first game, all 7 nights. You cannot die. You can only die I think a maximum of 5 times. If you die during the first 5 nights, you have to go back to the beginning. If you die in the 6th night and you get 3 tries, if you die in the 7th night, you only get 3 tries. And it's a hard friggin' game.
Yeah.
And to keep that winning streak up during both games, we have to start at the beginning.
I don't have the game, but I watched a YouTube video of someone beating the 5 nights.
Yeah.
And it just that was enough
hard.
for me. I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's enough. But seeing this challenge, I'm screaming at my computer, you know that they edit out every single time that they die, right?
They just make it look nice.
Yeah, they make it look nice. They die a
smooth.
couple of times for show, but there's dozens of times that they die off camera. It's a hard game, and who are you to challenge them to do that? Why should they care about what you think? You're a crappy person. You are one view. But with at least this game with challenges, it's a little more realistic. Like they'll say, like, oh well, if you're this class, just
it's
finish.
not setting a you have to do this. You have to reach this bar. It's who's the fastest, who's the best.
It's usually that. Because that's like an easier contest to manage. But it's certainly not like combining Avatar of Boris with Bees Hate You or something, which is that one's an honor system.
Man, Bees Hate You. That was something.
That's a terrible. It was fun.
I like how when I did it, like there were quest items, like there were things in the game that I guess they weren't necessary. Well, but there were things in the game that seriously slowed you down. Like,
yes, dude, I just completed.
You just can't do this.
Yeah,
you know.
I just completed that one, and it just threw me off how many things had bees in them.
But now they just released a trivial update, like, hey, like by the way, these new things that start with B that you need for the run. Well, you can use those.
Yeah,
you can just use a beehive.
But you can't use the Abu clues. You can't use instant disposable cameras.
Ugh.
You can't eat herb brownies.
Wow, man. That's okay.
That's fine, but it's just like it just kind of grinds my gears. You can't use a potion that you need to get to complete a quest, but you can get it another way. It's one of those things like, really. It was fun though. It was definitely different. It made me rethink what I'm doing.
There's so many changes. Like I just hope they slow down a little bit on the changes. I think that some things do need to be revamped. Maybe just the look of them. Maybe like the look of Cobb's Knob or something.
Yeah.
But
they already did that, you know.
Yeah.
The Goblin King was weird.
Yeah.
he really did look like a child's
drawing.
Like
I appreciate those changes.
Now it looks like a grown man's drawing.
I don't know if like the Nemesis Tower. Okay, it's cool that changed, and it's cool that there are these new runs now. But like everything seems, it's just like I want things to stabilize.
Unstable. Yeah,
I want things to just stabilize before you change another thing. Because it's like every time I log in, it's like now this is different.
I think T69 was a very rushed decision that probably need to be made.
Yeah.
They gave people like a buffer time of like 6 months.
Yeah,
for them to say,
okay.
All right, just get used to this kind of thing. Get used to this. Get used to the idea that you can't use old things. And then New Year's Day, they just said, all right, well, now that you know that it's a thing, we're going to do this now. So it wasn't as rushed, but it was still like a very rash decision that I know that they've been in some financial trouble.
Yeah.
And they need to find a way to boost sales.
They're definitely trying to downplay it a little bit, I think. Mm-hmm. But you know what? I don't know.
Especially
he
since
seems
they had
to be
a staff
making
member
decisions.
leave.
Yeah.
One of the people that was like there almost since the beginning.
Yeah.
And they experimented with ads, and I have no idea how profitable the new ones are, but I like being thanked every once in a while, so there's that.
Yeah, I always get excited like I got some kind of thing, you know, because it shows the chateau key. And I'm like, oh, something happened, cool, like, you know, something new, unexpected, and it's just an ad. It's cool.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I donate frequently enough where I don't have to see the begging ads, but I've definitely seen them. It's like, okay, this makes me feel bad for not paying.
Yeah, I have to. What do you think about the new? I have to talk about the new Sorcerer's Tower. The new.
Oh yeah, that was a new change that happened too. How are we on time?
28 minutes.
Oh, we can go a little over. As much as I want to like it, it certainly got a bit more grindy for me. It got to.
The tower doesn't change. The 5.
The tower does not change, and I'm like I equated the tower before as like a final review. It wasn't tough, but you had to have explored enough in the kingdom where you needed to pick up a few things. And I liked it. It was things that they were puzzles. It wasn't a straight up test.
Like you could be those five monsters were make or break. Like you could have a chaos butterfly, or you could maybe not have one, or a certain item. And it's one thing to try to be if you're going to go really fast through your run, you might sacrifice being able to pick up some of those things.
Exactly. That's
it might not drop for you in the few turns that you're there.
That's what some people had to contend with. But now it's like,
so it's an element of luck, and there's some strategy.
Now it's mostly luck. Now it's well, what do you already have that can shave off some turns? That's all it is. It's shaving off turns. But instead of like
the tests at the bottom.
Yeah, the test at the bottom now is shaving off. Also the hedge mace. The hedge mace is shaving off turns. You can cut through a section, but you have to make sure that you've had enough resistance, or you have to beat the monsters.
Yeah.
And
I just think the 5 tower monsters now, like what is that? Like, why is that there? Because
why is it a wall of skin? Why is it a wall of bones?
You're always gonna need a beehive. Like, you're right.
I think they spaded it so that the wall of skin is only wall of skin takes a lot of damage. It might just be like you just need the beehive, but it's like you could figure it out. Wall of meat, there's no other way to get through that. You just have to like boost up your meat modifier, and then the wall of bones only takes damage from group damage. Yeah, but you could also do the electric boner.
I mean, it's nice to have something else that needs meat besides that one nun's quest.
You got a point. Because now you buffed up your leprechaun for nothing, except for just for that.
I don't know about you, but I buffed my hobo monkey. So
I'm using a more general term. Well, now I got to think more. Well, now I got to think more in terms of leprechaun because I got the golden monkey, and oh my god, I love it.
Nice,
I really do. Now I get meat from things that don't drop meat. It's awesome.
Oh, is that really?
You auto sell the gold nuggets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those are like 100 meat.
I don't have it yet.
I think you should get that.
I think I should.
We'll talk more about it next time.
Yeah,
we'll talk more about the new.
My Groose is on the way out.
Fucking good.
It's nice.
I know it's nice, but now I'm not going to buy one. But I have a Spleen Familiar. We'll talk about that next time.
All right.
But
catch you guys later.
Yeah, that's our thoughts on leaderboards and standard runs. This has been the post show for Gentleman Dog Portrait. We'll come up with a different title. If you have a different title suggestion, by all means, let us